Well, I'm back here working on the 29. I got me a set of Monroe shocks here. I had these coilovers in it, and I had to modify the bottom eye of the Monroe, but I got it in and spaced where it's straight up and down. And on my original shock mount, and it's all the way down right now. I probably got a half-inch travel for the airbags hit. So right now my shock is my limiting travel, and when I air it up, I don't have the valve in it right now. I just put a air on it. Yeah, I got at least 3-4 inches. And that's hitting the shock, not the airbag. The airbag is completely closed. But it was close fit. I'll measure it and see what here from the center of the eye to the end of the shock is about 11.5 inches. And if I measure this from about the center of the eye, tape set up here, and I'm right at about 11 inches again. So this Monroe shock at the compressed end is the same as my old shock. And I think it's going to be workable. I'll put the tire on it now and see what it looks like. Well, there we go. Bottom of its travel. I'm still about a finger off of the tire here. I've noticed before, you know, that tire's not centered right in the thing. It should be back a couple inches, but it's not. Anyway, I'll air it up and see what we got. Anyway, let's hit this with some air. See what happens. Looks like I got about 1.5 inches there. I'll just hit it here. Oh yeah. It's pretty solid. So I got about 6 inches travel. Well, here's the next step in the 29 Chrysler saga. I found another 727, and this one he said was a off of 76 D150 360 motor. Got the torque converter. I dumped the oil out here out of the torque converter. It looks pretty good. I don't really see any metal or anything in it. Torque converter itself's got the weights on it, so I know this is for 360. The transmission don't look bad. It's supposed to have 50,000 miles on it. So Now I'm going to pull the pan and see what the inside looks like. Much better than that. No metal. There's just a little bit of black stuff in the bottom. Looks like I got a few bubbles right here. Might have had a little water in it. I've got a couple little pieces of gasket. Probably some gasket, and this looks like paint chips off of something. I'm gonna pull that filter, and we'll have a look at it. But basically, this looks real good. About what you'd expect from a 50,000 mile motor. Just a little dirt. I doubt if the fluid's ever been changed. So, looks good. Well, the filter looks great. You know, here's the intake here. Usually you find the trash would be right in this area. But there's just a little bit of stuff here. Kind of looks like some of it might be metal, but it's real smaller than a needle, just real tiny stuff, aluminum, and you know, not very much of it. I don't know what this paint chip is here. Probably something that fell in through the fill tube. But from the signs on its pan, this transmission is perfectly good. So I'm going to clean it up. You know, the last one I had that. I hate to dig all that stuff out of there to move it. It's kind of heavy. But I think I'm gonna do that. Just put my adapter on here and put it on an engine stand. Cleaned up, rotate it around, paint it, make it look nice. It's something I can do now. The shafts look good. Looks like they're turning the way they should. Let me shift it around. Well, I saved you a lot of boredom on this transmission. I got it all cleaned up. Pressure washed it down. Used super clean on it to degrease it, and I had about 3/4 of a can of this royal blue paint plus primer. Most of the front of the bell housing shows. Yeah, flipping it over, I got some oil on it. Yeah, a little drain in our vent in the top of the case. When you flip it over, of course, it's in the bottom of the case. But basically that's good enough. The other one was silver. I painted it silver. It looked pretty good, but the time I got it in, it was pretty dirty. So I'll just make this a close match to the rest of the car. Most of that bell housing, you can see the firewall's right about the front of the pan. So that's what I got here. I dug this thing out of this pile of metal. That was a problem, but it still worked. I tried all morning with jack stands and boards and everything else to get it up high enough to get it on this motor stand. No cigar, but I dug it out. And of course, you know, a few pumps later I had it on, so at least I got my transmission up and painted. I don't remember where we left off, but I got this thing jacked up a couple feet all the way around, pulled my starter and all the bolts out. It was having trouble clearing this pipe here, getting the transmission out. So I took it all loose so I could move it around. And I did get that old transmission out. Here it is. And I got the new one just now off of the motor mount, motor stand, and now I'm gonna try to get this all undone and drug in here and drug over there. I got borrowed a jack from my buddies. It's a motorcycle jack. I had to put a couple inches in it to get that transmission high enough, but anyway, got the motor out, or I got the transmission out. I got to take that flywheel and stuff loose. Trying to get this finished out here before it gets hot. The sun's really shining out there. Anyway, I'll get this unbolted and drug in the shade. Well, here it is, the end of a day. I got the transmission in and bolted up. Got the torque converter on it. There was a long story, you know. I had to take the exhaust pipe loose to get the transmission under it, and then I put my jack in there. I wound up using a little ratchet strap to pull up the front of the transmission. I hooked it around the distributor so I could get my jack under it. So I finally did that, and then it just wasn't strong enough to put the torque converter in. Kind of dark over here. So I used ratchet strap again to lift up the torque converter. I finally got it in the transmission and seated good. And I used long bolts there for studs to try to get it started, but I eventually got it in. I marked my flywheel and torque converter. I got one bolt in it now, so that's where I'm at. Transmission's back in. I got to put in the starter, hook the exhaust back up, drive line, cross member, cooler lines, but I should be able to get that done pretty fast. And I saved my new fluid out of the old transmission. It was only in there, you know, a couple of miles. I got it over there in my container. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but we will see. Anyway, end of another day. I'm beat up. I worked my dog off all day, and tomorrow I'll run and drive, and I shouldn't have any more troubles. Well, there she is, all tested and done. I got my kick down linkage and stuff adjusted right. Got it all the way kicked down at full throttle. Got about 1/4 of an inch before it starts to move it. Got my oil filter back on. It was about 1/4 low. I put some oil in it. The lifter was ticking. Everything's good. I've got the rear still jacked up. I gotta pull my light out of there, and I use that motorcycle jack to jack up the rear end to test it. It's shifting. I can't really tell if it's shifting first to second. I think it probably is, but second to third's a good shift. Reverse works. The stall is pretty good. I think it's a lower stalls converter. It was a couple inches bigger. I think this one was a 12 and the other one's about 10. So anyway, I'm gonna have to put me some kind of a chain or something in here to limit this, how far this body will come off of the frame. Can't even think, because the airbags, the shocks are letting the airbags way overextend, and so, well, the only problem with that is, of course, if I leave the ground or somebody jacks it up from the frame instead of the rear end. Anyway, I'm about ready to. Whoa! I don't believe I jacked up the whole car with that jack there. How about that? Yeah, pretty strong jack. Anyway, I'll let it down, get all these jack stands out of here. While it was under there, I should have pulled my light out. I got it running over the exhaust pipe, but I'll do that and get it down on the ground, and hopefully we'll go for a test drive and it'll drive good. Well, we'll give it a little test drive here. Got it down off the blocks. Try it again. Second, still burning. I'm going to give it maybe 1/3 of the throttle. So, At least the burnout works in 2 gears. No problem. So I know it shifts into third and reverse works. So now I'll just go drive it on the street and see what happens.